Hi. In today's session, let's look into virtual private networks, and we will also see virtual private network gateway. So, what is public and private network? First, let us try to understand what is public network. A public network is a type of computer network that is accessible to anyone who has proper authorization and equipment to access it. This can include internet, local area network, wide area network. Here, a person can have multiple accounts, as shown here, or nodes through which he can access public network. Few persons can be connected together tightly using internet. Say, for example, use of Facebook to form a network. There may be nodes which are isolated and which are not interacting with the public network. So these collectively called as a public network. Second, let us try to understand what is private network. A private network is a type of computer network that is restricted in terms of access and usage. These networks are all typically used by organization or individuals to share resources and data within specific group of people, such as employees of the organization or the family members. Private network uses firewalls in order to connect to the public network or to the internet. Examples of private network include local area network in a company or home, or with the virtual private network that will allow remote employees to access company's network and home networks that are protected by password. And now let's see what is private networks VPN gateway. So if you look into this diagram, we have a public network, companies X closed network on the left bottom side, and we have a full-fledged private network, and that is another private network. Virtual private network gateway, it's a service or device that connects a private network to public network, such as internet, and then allowing the remote users to securely access the resources on the private network. VPN gateway uses encryption and authentication to protect the data being transmitted over public network, ensuring that only authorized users can access the private network. This allows for secured remote access and can also be used to connect multiple private networks together, creating a larger virtual private network. If you see, we have a private network here, and we have a public network here. We have a private network of a company, and another uh, company's X network. They can be interconnected using the service called virtual private network gateway. Why we need VPN? That's an important question. There are several reasons why organizations and individuals may use virtual private network. The first one is for security. By encrypting data and routing it through a secured tunnel, a VPN can protect sensitive information from being intercepted by hackers or other malicious actors while it is transmitted over public network. So that comes first. Second one is remote access. All VPN allows remote employees or users to securely access the resources on the private network as if they were physically connected to the network. That's the second usage. Third one, on privacy. A virtual private network can be used to hide user internet activity or location from their internet service provider and websites, making it more difficult for them to track the user online activity. Fourth one is related to bypass censorship. A VPN can be used to bypass internet censorship and access blocked websites or services in countries where access is restricted. Fifth one is about connect multiple network. A VPN can be used to connect multiple private networks together, creating a larger virtual private network for organization with multiple locations which are geographically separated. Next come and the last one is cost effective. A VPN is a very cost effective way for organization to securely connect remote users and branch offices to the network, eliminating the need for expensive leased line, I mean the physical lines. So these six items leads to the need of VPN in modern world. Now let's see the basic difference between virtual private network and VPN gateway. Overall, I mentioned VPN gateway is a kind of a service. Now let's see the key difference between these two. VPN is a technology that allows the users to securely connect to a private network or public network. It uses encryption and authentication to protect the data that's being transmitted to ensure that only authorized users can access the private network. So that forms the VPN. Whereas here, VPN gateway, on the other hand, it's a service that connects private network to a public network such as internet. It acts as a gateway, allowing remote users to securely access resources on the private network. A VPN gateway uses VPN technology to encrypt and authenticate the data being transmitted over public network. This ensures that the data is secured and only accessible by only authorized users. So VPN gateway is a service which again uses the technology behind VPN. That makes the difference between VPN and VPN gateway. Next, what is VPN gateway and how it works? So we have seen in the previous slide that VPN is a technology used to create a secure and private connection over public network, while VPN gateway is a service or device that uses this technology to connect private network to a public network, which allowing the remote users to access the resources on the private network in a more secured way. Now, here, if you see here, in this diagram, we have a VPN clients, we have the users here. They use a special software called VPN client software to connect to the private network, which are all protected by the firewall. And so here, VPN gateway works by creating secure encrypted tunnel between the remote users or network and the private network. The user or network connects to VPN gateway using a VPN client software, and the gateway authenticates the connection and establishes a secured tunnel. Data is then encrypted and sent from the from the source to the destination. So here, before sending the data over the network, you have encrypted data, and that will be decrypted on the other end. So this is how the VPN gateway works. You have users or remote users, they have the terminal, they will use VPN software to connect to the private network, and whenever the user send the data, that will be encrypted, and when the data hit and it travels in the internet or the public network where the hackers don't have the ability to crack it, and when it hits the firewall, authentication authorization will be performed and then getting it into the private network. And before the private network consumes the data which is already encrypted will be decrypted and will be served in the private network. Now, let's see what are the what are the different types of VPN. Azure VPN is a service by Microsoft Azure that allows organization to create and manage virtual private network to securely connect their on-premises infrastructure to Azure resources or connect Azure virtual networks to each other. Say for example, Azure VPN support multiple VPN protocol. This includes four important items. Number one, Azure point-to-point VPN. Second one is um, Azure site-to-site VPN, and third one is Azure ExpressRoute, and the last one network-to-network connection, which is almost similar to Azure ExpressRoute. We'll see the difference. Now, let's take Azure point-to-site VPN. This allows remote users to securely connect to a virtual network in Azure using VPN client installed on their device, like the one what we have seen in the previous slide. This can be used to provide secured remote access for employees or extend the organization on-premises network to Azure. Second one, Azure site-to-site VPN. This allows an organization to create a secured connection between their on-premises infrastructure and the virtual network in Azure. This can be used to extend organization on-premises network to Azure or connect multiple Azure virtual networks together. Third one is Azure ExpressRoute. It's a service that allows organization to create private connection between their on-premises infrastructure and Azure by bypassing the public internet. ExpressRoute can be used to create a dedicated and secure connection between an organization on-premises infrastructure and Azure, providing a more reliable and consistent experience than VPN over public internet. This ExpressRoute can also be used to interconnect Azure to other cloud service provider like AWS, Google Cloud Platform, and so on. The last one, network to network connection. This is used to create private connection between regions or between subscriptions, that is within the cloud environment. It refers a type of VPN connection that allows communication between two separate networks, such as corporate network and remote office network, or between two different branches of a company, or between two different branches of the company exist in two different geographical locations. So these are the different types of Azure VPN that is available for the user consumption. Next come VPN Gateway. Let's see some other additional information with respect to VPN. You can deploy only one VPN gateway in a virtual network. This leads to another question. Is it possible to manage a vast VPN network with a single VPN gateway? You can create multiple connections to the same VPN gateway. And we have two different types of VPN. Mind the previous one, that is VPN gateway types. This is VPN types. So this is related to the technology, that is the VPN technology. So we have two types, policy based and route based VPN. Another important thing that you need to note under VPN gateway is setting a virtual network is free of charge. However, VPN gateway that connects on-premises network with Azure virtual networks available on the cloud, that will be charged. Well, let's see what is the difference between policy based and route based VPN. A policy based VPN is a type of virtual network that uses policies to control the flow of network traffic. These policies are typically defined by an administrator that can be used to restrict access to specific network resources to allow certain types of traffic to bypass the VPN. Policy-based VPNs are typically used to enterprise network to secure and control access sensitive resources such as financial or customer data. Here, the next come the role-based VPN. The route-based VPN. The route-based VPN is a type of virtual private network that uses routing to determine which traffic is sent through VPN tunnel. In a route-based VPN, traffic is directed to VPN based on destination IP address or network rather than using the policies. So, which means more accuracy will be there when you are using route-based VPN. This means that all traffic designated from a remote network will be sent through the VPN, while all other traffic will be sent through the regular network. Here, in route-based VPN, they are used in larger, more complex network to allow for more granular control over the network traffic. In addition to that, route-based VPNs are more flexible than policy-based VPNs and can be used to connect multiple networks together. Next come why we need a VPN gateway. Look out here we have the entire globe and we have many available regions. Though this image was taken long time back, just I am using it for illustrative purpose. You have a central India region and you have a UK South region and you have a Canada region and on the right side you have a Japanese region. So there are multiple regions 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, let's take this as a sample. So you have data here that need to be securely transferred from here to a region in South, UK South. So when you are transferring the data, this should have to be protected or secured in such a way that hackers or any other malicious attack should not happen when we are transmitting the data from the central India to the to UK or Canada East. So for this reason, we need a VPN gateway. That's a service that uses the public internet and the remote user can connect to VPN gateway using a VPN software, sends the data that will be encrypted before sending the data through the network. When it hits the private network, it hits a firewall, whereupon it will be authenticated and authorized. There, the data will be decrypted and presented to the VPN gateway. I mean, the and will be presented to the virtual private network. And so this ensures that the data is more secured while transferring from one location to another location. Now, let's see what are the various options. We have seen four different options of VPN gateway. The first one is a point-to-point connection. Here, a customer connects to a virtual private network in a more secured way and completes his task. It's a type of VPN connection that allows remote users to securely connect to virtual private network using Azure VPN client, which is installed in the client device. Here, some of the use cases related to point to site connection. Number one, remote access. Point to site VPN can be used to provide secure remote access for employees or contractors, allowing them to access resources on private network as if they were physically connected in the office. Second one, mobile workforce. This point to site VPN can be used to connect mobile employees to the organization network, allowing them to access the resources they need while working remotely. Third one, securely connecting remote devices. Point to site VPN can be used to securely connect remote devices such as laptops or tablets to organization network, allowing them to access resources they need while outside the office. So the first three all are somehow related to remote office access or remote access to an environment which is securely connected. The next one is a temporary access. There may be need to provide a temporary access to a company organization network for certain customers or vendors, and they need to access it only for a specific time period, and after that they cannot, for which you can use point to site connection. Next one, you can extend on premises network to an organization outside the outside the your organization perimeter, which allows them to take advantage of scalability and security of Azure while still maintaining control on the on-premises infrastructure. Next come again related to remote access. That's for the telecommuting. It allows the users to work remotely while still connecting the company internal resources as they were in the office. The last one is related to tunneling. It can be used to create tunnel between remote device and the virtual network, allowing them to securely transmit data over the public network. So these are the some use cases related to point to site connection. So majority of them is related to remote access data in a more secured way by connecting to the private network. Next come uh, uh, these remote access mobile network or securely connecting remote access. All these things are all related in some means. Thereby, you can access companies or organization data in a very quickly and in a secured way. Now let's see what is what is the other option, that is site to site connection. You have on-premises network and you have a cloud Azure network. These can be securely connected using again VPN gateway. The site to site VPN is a type of VPN connection that allows organization to create a secure connection between their on-premises infrastructure with virtual network available on Azure. Let's see some of the common use cases related to this site-to-site connection. Number one, connecting branch offices. Site-to-site VPN can be used to connect multiple branch offices together, creating larger virtual private network for organization with multiple locations. They can be geographically separated with each other. And second one, hybrid cloud. Here, site to site VPN can be used to connect on premises network to a virtual network in the public cloud, such as Microsoft Azure, and create a hybrid environment as shown here. Third one, extending on premises network. Site to site VPN can be used to extend organization on premises network to Azure, which allows them to take advantage of scalability and securing the Azure while still maintaining control on the on-premises infrastructure. Next and important point is backup and recovery. The site-to-site VPN can be used to create secure connection between organization on-premises infrastructure and the cloud-based backup and recovery service. And this is most popular use case available for site-to-site connection. Next is multi-location connectivity. It's similar to connecting branch offices. However, here we are connected the locations together which are geographically separated, whether they are on premises or in the cloud. We are going to create a larger virtual private network for organization with multiple locations. Next one is using the modern technology support. S2S VPN can be used to connect multiple locations and then can also be used to connect securely with the Internet of Things devices. It allows IoT devices to connect to private network, which allows them to securely transmit data back to the organization. And the last important one is to meet the regulatory and compliance requirement. The site-to-site VPN can be used to comply with regulatory requirements by connecting to a virtual network in a specific region or a sovereign cloud such as Azure government. So these are some of the use cases related to site-to-site connection. Next one, another one, what is network to network connection? Look here, we have a virtual network in one region and we have another virtual network in another region. You can establish a kind of site to site connection or a net to network connectivity. Okay, so this type of arrangement can either be classified as site to site or network to network connection. In another case, you have a subscription one spread across multiple geographies that forms a virtual network, and you have another subscription that forms another virtual network. You can connect between two different subscription. That's also an example of network to network connection. Now let's see what is the other type and more popular one, that is ExpressRoute. ExpressRoute, here you have a customer network and you have a tunnel and follows by MS Edge, and you have a virtual network hosted on cloud. Let's take Azure. In Azure, you have Office 365 services and you have public IP addresses that are created for specific Azure resources, and you have your own virtual networks which are all created within Azure. So these three can be accessible from customer network. And so this connectivity, that's nothing but a express route which enables you to have a dedicated, private and more reliable high speed network connectivity to access these resources. So using this express route, you can get privacy, you can connect the devices with the Azure resources in a more secured way and in a reliable way, and it allows you to connect from one region to another region, and the network performance is always higher and better compared to the public internet. And these are the benefits that you will achieve using ExpressRoute. Let's see some of the use cases related to ExpressRoute. The first one is hybrid cloud. So using ExpressRoute, you can connect to on-premises network to virtual network in Azure, creating a hybrid cloud environment. For example, if you want to do a large data transfer from your on-premises network to cloud in a secured and easiest way, you can use ExpressRoute. Next one, if you want to take up any backup of your on-premises network it into cloud, you can use ExpressRoute. This can be used to create a dedicated and secure connection between your on-premises infrastructure with Azure. And so it provides a reliable and consistent experience than VPN over the public internet for backing up and recovery solution. Next is about high availability. This is one of the best features that you can avail from any cloud service provider. ExpressRoute can be used to improve the availability and reliability of mission critical application by providing dedicated and low latency connection between Azure and your on-premises network. Next is related to compliance. As we have seen in the previous slide, you can meet regulatory requirements by having a separate express route between your network. Next one, it provides a connectivity between multi-region Thereby, you can have multiple virtual networks created in geographically separated environment. This uses a, a dedicated environment or dedicated network environment, and so the performance of the application that require high bandwidth with and low latency, whereupon you can go for express routes, say for example video conferencing, online gaming or streaming, whereupon you can go for express route. And finally, security. It provide more secure connection by bypassing the public internet, and thereby it reduces the risk of data breaches. And so these are the some of the use cases with respect to express route. Now, with that, I close my today's session. We can continue in the next session with a newer topic. I hope this video is helpful for your academic purpose, interview preparation, as well as exam preparation. If you like this video, please go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to ring the bell, and you will be notified whenever I publish a new video. And as usual, this is not the end of my learning session to you. We will continue in a new topic next time, sometime tomorrow. Till then, stay safe and bye now.